Welcome to Out of the Box with Christine, the podcast for conscious entrepreneurs. Are you willing to step into your greatness? Are you ready to shine? Well, get ready, Truth Seeker. You're in for an amazing ride. And now, here's the host of the show, Christine Blasdale.
Hello, everyone. It's Christine Blasdale with Out of the Box with Christine. And I am so very happy that you tuned in today because we have a wonderful guest for you today. My dear, dear friend. And oh my God, it's been a long time since you've actually been on Out of the Box, but you're back now. Julia Loggins is my very special guest today. Of course, Julia is a gut health expert of centuries. She is also an incredible author and creator of the Julia Loggins courses and products. And she's here to talk about a brand new book that's coming out and so many wonderful things that's happening on the health front and how we can take back our beauty, babe. Right? Julia Loggins, welcome back to Out of the Box with Christine.
Thank you so much for having me.
I feel like it's homecoming. I feel like it's a reunion.
It is. It's just so special. I always just get goosebumps when I'm speaking with you or on your show.
I love and adore you. And I'm so glad to bring you to a whole new crop of listeners and viewers on YouTube as well. And I had mentioned in the very beginning that you are a gut health expert of epic proportions. And what that entails is, of course, this amazing product line that you have to help people have a happy, healthy gut, but also you've really helped change people's lives when it comes to their own self-worth and, losing weight, feeling better, getting out of that weird fog that we're in. And also that COVID-19, 15, 20 pound gain that we all had. But tell our listeners, if you don't mind, give them a little bit of a background about how you got into the field of gut health, and then we're gonna get into the book.
Okay, so I got into the field of gut health by having a gut that didn't function at all.
Yeah.
Having a body that didn't function at all. You know my story, but I spent much of my first 20 years hospitalized. I had environmental sensitivities, asthma, rheumatoid arthritis, bleeding ulcers. I had regular anaphylactic reactions to food and substances and environmental toxins that landed me in the hospital. And my organs degenerated to a point where by the time I was approaching 17, doctors told my parents I wouldn't live through the year. And I was lucky enough to find a medical doctor who was influenced by the teachings of Paul Bragg, who was one of the founders of the health movement in America. And it actually was really simple what he learned, which is eat fresh, organic food, don't eat processed food, don't eat wheat, sugar, junk, don't take pharmaceutical medications if at all possible. And so the doctor that I met gave me that prescription when I was really knocking on heaven's door. And that was the beginning of changing my life and allowing me to heal. And my healing journey was a long one. It took me a long time to regenerate my organs and completely heal, but I did. And here I am.
And here you are. Here you are.
Years old, and grateful to be here and feeling better than ever. And, excited to bring that message to people that healing is possible.
And I think so many people don't realize that how important our gut health is.
Yeah.
Right? Because we have with modern medicine too, we've said, we've got this issue and it's like, well, here's a pill for that. And I've got that issue and here's a pill for that. When a lot of our health issues, a lot of them, I'd say a majority maybe, relate to the condition of our guts, of our intestines, and right, and how we process foods. If you don't mind, I'd love to hear the stories too about how when you've actually spoken to people who've maybe have come to you complaining of other ailments and diseases, and how you were able to transform their lives just by helping them take control of and getting a happier, healthier gut.
it's, and often that so often happens that people come to me for something else. And then the transformation occurs because of what happens with their gut. One of the most dramatic was a woman that I'll call Ella. She came to me, she was about 40 years old. She was about 50 to 75 pounds overweight. She walked into my office with a cane. She'd been sent to me by a doctor. She'd been her doctor, who said he didn't know what else he could do for her, except he sensed a high level of toxicity. She had been in a mental hospital for 2 years. So her level of psychosis and depression and suicidal attempts was quite dramatic. And as I said, she came hobbling in. She looked 30 years older than she was. She barely spoke. I actually thought she was brain injured. And we started doing colon therapy. We started doing colonics, which is a cleansing of the lower intestine, because the liver, which is where we store our toxins, can't really release that toxicity unless our colons are clean. So one of the gifts of colon therapy is removing the 10 to 20 pounds of waste that gets stored in our colon so that the liver can flush toxins from the rest of our body. And our livers, our bodies are just amazing. They're always trying to save our lives. So they do that by trying to hold the toxins inside us and not just allowing them to constantly recirculate, because they have already by this time lost the energy to eliminate those toxins on their own. It's a myth that we eliminate the toxins in our food or our environment by ourselves through our sweat or our breath, because our bodies are so overwhelmed with that amount of toxicity. They weren't designed to deal with this amount of toxicity. So with Ella, I saw her 2 times a week. She was so depressed that I would call the doctor and said, I'm actually afraid she's going to take her life. And he said, I've got your back. So I worked on her twice a week. Her diet wasn't even perfect by any means. But over time, within a couple of months, I saw her start to perk up and she started to speak to me. And I will tell you that in 6 months, just from doing this, she'd actually been a very well-known painter. And she paid me in paintings because she had no money, and dresses that she didn't fit in anymore. And every couple of months, I would notice a little bit of a change. And in 6 months, she had lost about 50 pounds. She was cheerful. What turned out that I thought was a brain injury was actually toxicity, because she finally was well enough to speak to me and tell me that 2 things had happened. One is she'd been painting oil paintings in a room with no ventilation. And also she'd had a violent crime. So she'd been sexually abused, and so there was this incredible trauma, which also shut her down. So you've got these 2 things, which, as we know, cause brain injuries, trauma and toxicity.
Correct.
And just by doing the colon therapy and allowing her liver to purge, by the time I stopped seeing her, 9 months in, she'd lost the weight. There was no cane. She was upright. She was cheerful. She was not on any medication. And the last I heard from her, she was living in Hawaii and painting outside.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And that is very dramatic, but that tells you how, the level at which toxins affect us. And
Absolutely.
That's right?
Absolutely. And I know you have so many stories like that with the people that you've worked with, and it's not talked about.
No,
Again, it's not covered. It's not front page news. It's always, like when you're watching the television and stuff and you see these commercials for some kind of pill, and the side effects from the medication are worse than the original issue. It's like, do you have, I don't know, restless leg syndrome? And then they tell you about, and they show a picture of somebody like, enjoying, like on a swing and,
That's right.
and with the dog.
Yes, yes.
And then as they're showing you all these things, and them laughing and dancing. They're like, may cause complete liver shutdown, may cause suicidal thoughts. Your
Right.
tongue may swell up and you may die. I mean,
Right.
it's
It's like Saturday Night Live. You actually can't imagine that this is actually happening, right?
it is. It's a real commercial for, and they
Yeah,
have to say it because if they didn't have to say it legally, they would, but
they
they're
would,
very clever. And they're like,
and you,
ask your
yeah.
doctor about it. And I'm like, hell no. I'm not gonna ask my doctor about it. But those fallacies and so much of what we're fed by the media is, first of all, lies. I just moved my face right to the camera for YouTube viewers. Lies, absolute lies. But there's a manipulation that
Yes.
has happened for the longest time, and especially let's call it out. There's been a manipulation towards women, and this idea of beauty, this
Mhm.
idea of the perfect, you know, we're in this quest to be someone that we're not, so much so. And since we're little tiny girls, the time that we come out of the womb, we're told you need to be pretty, you need to wear pink, you need to look this way and not that way. And so we've got some real hangups around the way we look, the way we present it to the world. And I'm so happy to let our listeners and our viewers know that you have a brand new book, that's actually, you have a co-author that's kind of famous.
I do. I have a co-author that's kind of famous. There's her picture, Patricia Bragg, 92 years old. So Patricia Bragg, as many people know from, apple cider vinegar, um, her father was really one of the founders of the whole health food movement in America. He started the first health food store. And
Really?
yes, he talked Rachel Carlson into writing Silent Spring.
Wow.
He knew that pharmaceuticals were dangerous in the 30s and 40s. His voice was, many factions tried to quiet him. And he was a force of nature. He believed in organics. He believed in fresh food. He believed we had to take back our health. And he believed in gut health and fasting and cleansing. There's not one thing in my book that he didn't talk about 100 years ago. And that's what's so amazing. And so Patricia, took up the mantle. And as everybody knows, she's just a character and a half. And her whole mission in life was to spread the message of health and happiness. And she turned a health food company into a multi-million-dollar business. And Bragg Live Foods, as people know from Bragg's Aminos and Bragg's apple cider vinegar, at one point it had 350 products. And she sold that company a couple of years ago to dedicate herself to the mission of health and happiness. And she is now retiring to her organic farm in Santa Barbara. And I'm carrying on that legacy of, of the mission of health and happiness. And what really touched me and why she really wanted to write a book about ageless beauty. She thought it was really important for women to feel, to look, and to love themselves in the mirror. And for her mission was so organic to her, so deep inside her, that nothing in what anybody said, no matter what, it was like, we're just doing this. And for me, having come from my history, because I lost all my hair and eyelashes and eyebrows in my teens, I had survived a lot of trauma. And the whole idea of beauty was something I really, really struggled with. In fact, my former husband, Kenny Loggins, wrote a gorgeous foreword for the book, because he talks about taking me out when we first got together to buy me clothes and coming into the dressing room, and I would just be sobbing because I couldn't imagine that I was beautiful. I couldn't imagine that I looked okay. And one of the contributors to my book is a client of mine and a friend, Kelly LeBrock, who is an actress, and she was once called the most beautiful woman in the world. And she told me that up until she really, did her own personal journey and her own deep spiritual work, she never felt beautiful a day in her life. This is, if a woman who is called the most beautiful woman in the world does not feel beautiful, that tells you the level of toxicity in our culture.
Oh, that's so true. That is so, so true.
Yeah.
And and thinking back on the legacy of Patricia Bragg and of course the whole line of products that they have that have helped so many people, but her spirit, I
Yes.
couldn't think of another. I mean, if they asked to have Patricia Bragg like portrayed in a movie, it'd be you. Do you know what I'm saying? The young Patricia Bragg. I mean, you're the perfect person to bring this to also to a whole new audience
A
as
whole new
well.
generation, we hope,
Yes.
And yes, she is, a fighter and spunky, and she always believed that beauty came from inside and it was ageless. And that however, from being a person, she was never really sick. She didn't really ever deal with physical things. And I can say that when you're in pain every day, and when your head aches, and when you don't know if you're going to live, or your body hurts, or you don't like who you see in the mirror because you're inflamed and you've blown up like a blimp, or you're taking medicines, it's pretty hard to feel beautiful. It's hard to feel good about yourself. I mean, I know firsthand those struggles. And so one of the things our book does is give women very, very simple, practical steps that they can do at home in the privacy of their own home with their own two hands, that do not cost a fortune, to reclaim their health and revitalize their whole, shift their mood, to detoxify their body, calm their mind, and deal with those toxin goblins that demand that they eat ice cream at midnight, because that's, willpower has nothing to do with it. The only thing that's really sustainable in shifting our food and lifestyle choices is loving ourselves. It sounds like it's cliche, right? But when we really feel like, I deserve to feel good tomorrow. I deserve to wake up and feel good and look at myself and love myself. I don't deserve to feel crummy because I ate something bad, or my blood sugar is crashing, or I don't like blowing up from the inflammation that sugar and wheat causes. Then people make effortless choices. I see it in my practice every day. So our whole goal is to make this easy, easy, easy.
I like easy, easy, easy. I like simple.
Easy, simple, and something that women can do. We don't need, it's wonderful to have a practitioner. It's wonderful to have support, but we wanted a program that women can do themselves.
And yeah, that's simple. And let's face it too, so many, well, women of all socioeconomic backgrounds have this issue, have that,
Yes,
also that self-esteem issue as well. But especially women that are in the lower, that have had a really hard time.
absolutely.
They financially don't have the ability to go to some fancy spa and
That's
get,
right.
facials and a liver cleanse and all of that. They need to
That's
be
right.
able to have those tools as well. And so let's tell the full name of the book, that brand new book, and we'll make sure that we have a link in the show notes so people
Okay.
can get a copy of the book. It's a beautiful book. But give us the full name of it, if you
Okay.
don't mind.
So it's called Revolutionary Beauty: 7 Transformative Steps to Ageless Beauty with the Bragg Healthy Lifestyle.
Awesome. Okay.
And our tagline is Viva la Beauty Revolution. That's what we want to do. It's time for a revolution, not necessarily the kind that we think of when we think of revolution, but a kind of revolution that aligns us with ourselves and Mother Nature.
And real, and this is the thing, is that people want to see real people. So you
Yeah.
didn't do revolutionary beauty and have a picture of, Kylie Jenner or, some 14-year-old, on the
Yeah.
cover. You have Patricia Bragg, who is, how old did you say? How
She's
old?
92.
She's 92. And
Yeah.
you yourself, I don't know if you say how old.
66.
You're 66. Oh
Yeah.
my God. And if you're watching this on YouTube, you can see absolutely how radiant Julia Loggins is. But if not, then get the book and you'll be able to see how radiant she is. But so what I like is that here on the cover of Revolutionary Beauty, they're it's not like some 20-year-old. It is, a 93-year-old and a 66-year-old and you are radiating that beauty. You are absolutely gorgeous with this vibrancy. It's a vibrant energy that comes from the two of you. And so let's talk, if we have time. Of course, people, we want to get the book if they want to get all the full information on these 7 transformative steps. But can you give us like a little synopsis of what some of those steps are, or maybe a
Sure.
couple tips for people?
I'm thrilled to give a couple of tips. And so obviously we talk about diet. Now, one of the things that Patricia has done every day of the last 75 years of her life is she has fasted 1 day a week, 24 hours where she is fasted. She likes to do it on water, but we teach people how to do it on juice. But one of the things we do in our book is we make fasting easy, and we give people different ways to fast. One of them is called fasting light. So instead of using water or juices, you're just using smoothies, because nothing takes more energy than digestion. Nothing. So even if it's soups and smoothies for a day and you're giving your digestion a rest, that really can turn the clock back. That lifts your mood, regenerates your energy. It makes a huge difference in mood. I mean, and energy and mood are everything, right? I mean, when you're energetic and you feel happy, you feel beautiful. And then the people around you see you like that. As I was telling you before we started, beauty is not in the eye of the beholder. It is inside us, really is. And when we change how we see ourselves, we change how the world sees us. And that changes everything. So breaking down, making fasting easy and giving people, even people who have health issues and reasons that doing a juice or water fast would be tricky for them, we give them many ways to do it. And then we give people tools to help with what we call the experiences that you may have when you fast that may have stopped people before, like they get a headache or something like that. So we teach you how to detox your body so that if you run into something like that, we have a simple tools for how to shift that experience. And we also talk about food. Obviously what's really, really important, and I'll give this key, the antidote for sugar is protein. So what we do is we talk a lot about how sugar, we all know that sugar isn't good for us. I mean, most of us know that. But then, okay, what do we do with that? What do we do when we're craving sugar? Reach for protein. Reach for digestible protein, whether it's a protein smoothie, reach for a hard-boiled egg, reach for a piece of chicken if you're vegetarian or vegan, reach for a smoothie or a piece of tofu or some nuts and seeds. But that's one of the most important tools I've been able to tell people, especially women, which is to up your protein levels to 50 to 100 grams a day of protein. So 1 serving of protein fits like a piece of fish or chicken in the palm of your hand. We want to have 3 of those a day. It doesn't have to be in solid food. It can be in a protein shake. It can be in bone broth, organic, it can be bone broth. It can be, there's different forms of it, but most women are protein deficient because stress burns up these minerals. And women are protein deficient. And I really see that. And I've found that when women get more protein, they release their craving for carbs, and the weight just floats, it just melts away, as well as the inflammation. So it's like, if you've ever felt like you look at yourself in the mirror, I have felt this, and I'm also swollen and I just want to pop myself, that's inflammation, right? So more protein, that allows us to eat less sugar, carbs, junk food. All of a sudden, the inflammation starts to shrink.
Oh, and the cravings they change as well, right?
Those cravings really do change. I mean, one of the things we talk a lot about in the book is tools for cravings, because it's right back to that thing that, diets don't work. I mean, this book is not about a diet. I mean, Patricia's never dieted a day in her life. She doesn't believe in them. We know that they don't work. So what we need are tools to deal with cravings. We can't just say, don't do this and don't do that. I mean, if that really worked, we wouldn't be needing to write a book to make things easier and simpler. And that's the whole thing. It really is easy and simple. It's just nobody needs to reinvent the wheel. I feel like what we did with our book was to make it a book that anyone would understand. You don't have to have a huge background in health or detoxification or cleansing. I wrote a book that is made for someone who is new to health and new to shifting their perspective on how to regain their energy, and something that will make it simple and yet super entertaining and fun. Because if we're not having fun, what are we doing?
Oh yeah, no, it's got to be simple, because if it's too complicated too, people go, no, I'm checked out. I'm done.
That's how I feel. I want something to be simple. I want it to be fun because I'm a playful person. So
Exactly.
I want it to be fun, and I want it to feel uplifting. I want to feel inspired. I want to feel like I can do this. And I like to read stories of other people who can do it. So we have some incredible contributors of women who've written their story. I have, women who've written about starting businesses when they were 70 years old and changing their lives, and a wonderful story that was written in her autobiography that I was allowed to share in this book from one of my heroes, Mae West. Mae West lived this philosophy. She actually did not drink. She did not eat junk. She never went to a dinner party. She did colon cleansing every day.
Really?
Yeah. She had a secret life that was radical health. Yeah.
Mae West was a radical healthy.
Yeah, she was radical healthy and a radical feminist. I mean, she just believed in freedom for women on every level. She owned her own company. I mean, she was so ahead of her time. And I share a lot of her beliefs, and they're all in line with these things. When something is real, it's timeless.
Oh, I agree 100%. And right now it's such an important message, especially for women and young women who are coming up the ranks as well. We're just, for so long, we've just been told your only value is based on how you look.
Yes.
It's not on how you feel. Nobody says, hey, honey, I'm so happy you're feeling great. No, it's, hey, you're hot, or, you could, you should lose a few pounds, or whatever the horrible things that they say to women are. But with what I believe what you're trying to convey here in Revolutionary Beauty, this brand new book by you and Patricia Bragg, is that it's a holistic approach as well. It's not just what we see on the outside, but it's what we feed ourselves food wise and nutrition wise, but also what we feed ourselves mentally as well, right?
Exactly. And we have a chapter where we talk about hormones, so that we really break down hormone health. We break down the different safe methods that women can use to replace hormones. We have expert medical doctors who are sharing their information, who are sharing their secrets for women of all ages, whether they're dealing with menopause, perimenopause, just kind of breaking through those veils of things that people don't talk about, whether it's their poop, whether it's menopause, as well as a really practical 5-minute skin program to rejuvenate your skin and really turn the clock back. Because
okay, now you're talking.
Turn the clock back 20 years. I mean, my dermatologist who shares the program that she and I have done together, and she's one of our contributors, Julia Hunter. She talks about what it means to turn the clock back 20 years, how to do it, how to safely do it, and that it is possible. So, I mean, right when you come right down to it, and the reason that it's important to do that is because it raises our self-esteem, it really raises our mood. You and I both know when you look at yourself in the mirror and you look good, you feel good. You're like,
I need to look good because I'm on camera.
I can do
look
this.
Good. I need to look yeah, I need to look good because I'm on camera and I want to make sure that I feel when I do see the videos, I don't go, ooh, what
I know,
happened? You
right?
know, but
Yes.
it's so important. It's important for your own self-esteem, and it's not for doing it for somebody else. It's doing
No,
it for you.
for you.
And that is the most important thing. So that, yeah, when you wake up in the morning and you look in the mirror and you go, you know what? You're doing pretty
Yeah.
good.
And it's important for women to do this for our daughters and our sons. It's important for our children to see us feel good about ourselves. You know, I have a daughter, and I I understood early on that if I didn't feel good about my body, how could I expect her to feel good about hers? Because even though I always saw her as gorgeous and perfect, I knew from my own work on myself that what she would get, the unspoken is that I don't feel good about myself. And then she would think, oh gosh, maybe I don't look so good either. So I had to really learn how to embody that genuinely, authentically, so that she could grow up with a sense of loving herself. And that's what we all want for our children, especially women. I mean, we're mother bears, right? So we want our tribe to thrive.
Oh, completely. And also, we want our children, especially with social media and all the pressures that they have
Yes.
on them, to grow up really fast, right?
Oh,
And I mean, it's a different world. I know every generation says that, but it's a different world
it
than
really is.
when we were kids, especially. But I like the idea too of taking this holistic approach in beauty, and also giving people the tools and tips and techniques that are affordable
Yep.
and easy to
Easy.
do and accessible. In other words, you don't have to have a large bank account in
No.
order to do these things. Do you remember any of the? Is there any quick tip that you can give as far as maybe for that beautiful skin? I know that taking care of your gut and hydrating and
Yeah.
making sure that you have plenty of protein and
Yes.
getting away from the sugar and the wheat helps your skin tremendously.
Dramatically helps the
But any
skin.
other little thing you can throw out there?
You know, Patricia would say that one of the best toners you can put on your face is apple cider
Apple
vinegar,
cider.
because it is exactly the right acid balance for the skin. It protects the skin. And so that is and that is extremely inexpensive, and that's something that you can put on your whole body to exactly manage. It's exactly the right pH level for the skin. And that's another very inexpensive thing that you can put on your skin is vitamin C powder, because that exfoliates your skin on a daily basis, and it also protects it from the sun. So
Wow.
and it's very inexpensive. You don't have to buy fancy brands. I mean,
No, you
from Mae West to my doctor, Julia Hunter, she's like, save your money and spend it on good food. Don't spend it on fancy, expensive creams, because beauty comes from the inside out. But there are things that we talk about that you can do. And then we also break down questions people have about what skin protocols that are safe. What is safe to do? If you want to do a peel, what should I do? Because who knows these things, right? So
yes.
we asked a doctor to break this down, for even things that we want to do for ourselves at home.
I love this. And did you discuss Botox with these people?
We talked about Botox, and that was one of the questions I asked her. Is it safe? It is safe. It is actually safe. It's been demonstrated scientifically that it is actually one of the safe things that you can do. So if you're a woman who's been wondering, should I do this? Is it dangerous? It's safe. We also talk about if you want to, for instance, do a laser, which laser is safe for your skin type. I wouldn't have known these things, but I was the person, I asked her all these questions so that my audience would know, because not everyone is going to get, to be able to ask someone of her, status and also her experience, these questions, and it's going to tell them, without having any attached to their bank account, right? She's just giving out information to women so that they have the answer. And I wouldn't have known for my skin type which laser to use or which one not to, which kind of peel to do and which not to. And there's no judgment in this book, whether you want to get Botox, not get Botox. color your hair, don't color your hair. Honestly, women, we judge ourselves way too much. It was
Yes.
not my place to write a book that, judged women anymore. Or had women compete against each other. I feel like that is another thing that has to stop. It's about women loving each other, collaborating with each other. And if one woman, it makes her feel good because genetically she has bags under her eyes, because in her family, which I learned from Dr. Hunter, for some people genetically, that is just part of what happens when they turn a certain age. And there's a simple outpatient surgery that they can get to shift that so that they, so that they look younger, and they, then I'm all for it. If you don't want to do that, we're all for that too. This is all about love and light, no judgment.
And that self-love. Exactly.
Self-love. If you're doing this, because you hope that someone else will like you, then we'd ask you to, take a deeper look. But if this is because you really feel like, I would just, I'm not really ready to go gray. I just want to be a redhead, which is how I feel. This is like what makes me feel like myself, then that's good. And we do feel that one of our contributors, Erin Elizabeth, who is Dr. Mercola's partner and a distinguished journalist, she talked about explant surgery, which is the surgery she got to remove her breast implants, because as we are learning,
Wow.
breast implants are toxic. And what I didn't know, Christine, is that even saline implants are toxic, because the silicone is in the lining of the implants. And so we feel like by educating women that when we love ourselves, we just make choices that are all about our health. So we feel that as more and more women are educated about these choices, then maybe we won't make the choices that my generation made, because we had such low self-esteem, and we were conditioned to believe we needed a certain boob size, or somebody wouldn't like us, or we weren't worthy. And we want to change that.
It should stem from what makes you happy.
Yeah,
and
what
and
makes you
and
happy.
not what the outside world is saying, because the outside world is going to be very fickle, because one minute they're going to say, oh, small butts are great, and then the next minute they're going to say big butts are great, and then the next minute they're going to say, oh, midline butts are great. I mean, it's an ever changing, and that's advertising.
It's ever changing, and so there's, all we can do is just love ourselves. I mean, I think of someone like Helen Marin, who's in her 70s.
Yeah.
She's just gorgeous. I saw a picture that she posted on social media with no makeup, very brave, because it did look different than she looks in most of her pictures. And she said, I love myself, and this is who I am. Like, right on. And she's hot. I mean, my husband is like, whoa, she's gorgeous. And, men think she's hot. Women think she's hot. She's hot. And that's coming from inside her.
Yeah, as I say, part of that is because of that confidence as well.
Yeah. She's a spunky woman, and, she's owned that from day one. And that's what we want. And that's what we want to feel. And that will shift us. And then that shifts the decisions we make about ourselves, not even just our food, but it shifts the choices we make in our jobs, with our partners, in our living situations. It shifts everything.
And it shifts what we accept and what we don't accept, and our boundaries, our boundaries as well. And for anyone, especially for any woman that's listening to this or watching this on YouTube, I want to reiterate, and this is what I'm getting, the download that I'm getting is, make the decisions that are right for you.
For you, absolutely. And we talk about boundaries in the book. We actually talk about boundaries. Was a word that when my therapist first told it to me in my 20s, it could have been from another language. I actually didn't know what she meant. I mean, I had no sense of it, because I'd had a history of trauma where I really wasn't allowed to have any boundaries. So it was something I had to learn. And we actually have simple exercises in the book that teach women how to have boundaries, because I know what it's like to try to figure out what they are and how to have them. I mean, I feel like breaking things down and making it simple is our job. And, at 66, nobody needs to go through all of the things I did, or Patricia, that we can make these things easy. And like you said, boundaries is a huge part of, if we don't feel safe, then we don't feel beautiful.
That is so true. Mm-hmm. That is absolutely so true.
Because we're in fight or flight, or we're paralyzed.
Well, and that's what so many women are in that state.
Yes. Hey, I've been there. I've been in both of those. I've spent a lot of time with passports to both of those states. And I know that I did not feel beautiful at all during those times, because you can't. You're living outside your body in a level of stress, and coming back into our bodies and falling in love with our bodies and falling in love with ourselves, and allowing ourselves support, learning how to receive a compliment, learning how to receive abundance. It's all the same.
Oh, that's so true. That's so true. And to give yourself that permission as well to love yourself.
Yeah. Even as imperfect as we are, I'm not perfect. This isn't about perfection. It's just about, I'm good just this way. And, you're a hard worker. I'm a hard worker. I'm going to continue to work on myself and do better. But that doesn't mean I'm not great today, just as I am. I'm not worthy of love. I'm worthy of love just like this. And so is everyone.
Now that's revolutionary beauty, babe.
in our world, for a woman to look in the mirror and smile, it is revolutionary.
Oh, amen, sister. Amen. Oh my gosh. Julia Loggins, I'm so happy that you got to come back onto the show and to be with our wonderful listeners and viewers on YouTube. And we're going to make sure that we send them to your website. It's because Julia also, she has, in addition to this incredible book with Patricia Bragg, Revolutionary Beauty, she has some of the most amazing health products for creating that happy gut, that happy, healthy gut. And there's so many to mention, but I really want to encourage people to go to your website and check it out. You also have courses available.
Online courses, so that women who read the book and want to be with me and dive deeper into this and have someone hold your hand and cheer you through this. That is absolutely possible. So we meet live on Zoom, and the courses are on my website, julialoggins.com.
julialoggins.com. And trust me, you definitely want to check her out. Make an appointment too, if you can. Get her into a course, because it's life-changing, and nobody else is going to do it for you.
Yeah, nobody's going to do it for you.
No, you have to do it. You need to do it. And if you've stumbled across this podcast or you've stumbled across this video, it's for a reason. And the reason was that you needed to hear what Julia was laying out there. And so please do check out our website, julialoggins.com. We'll have a link in the show notes, as well as a link to this incredible book, this brand new book, Revolutionary Beauty. What's the full title again?
Revolutionary Beauty, 7 Transformative Steps to Ageless Beauty with the Bragg Healthy Lifestyle.
I love it. I love it. Congratulations. And please send our wishes and love and kisses to Patricia Bragg as well. And congratulations.
Thank you. I absolutely will.
Yes. Congratulations on this incredible endeavor that the both of you put in, and all the special guest co-authors as well that are working on that.
I know. I'm so grateful to all of them. They were brave. They were honest. They just bared themselves in order for women to understand that it's safe to do that. And like you said, nobody's going to do it for us. This is something for us to do for ourselves.
And I hope that every single person who has come across this content takes that, heeds that urgent call and does take that first step to revolutionary beauty. Thank you again so much, Julia Loggins, my dear, beautiful friend. I love you. And I miss you. And I want to thank you, wonderful listeners and viewers who've tuned in. Thank you so very much. If you've gotten something out of this, or you think that someone should hear this themselves, and you want to share that, please share it as much as possible. Put it on your social media, send it in the email if you want, but share it. You can like and subscribe to this YouTube channel as well, and get the word out on this really powerful book by my dear friend Julia Loggins and Patricia Bragg, Revolutionary Beauty. Remember, link is going to be in the show notes. And until next time, as we always say, remember to think outside that damn box. Bye for now.